Last season's champions, Jurassic Ride, are here and ready to defend their championship title in the third and final main event of the Season of Colors. 50 cars total and 10 teams are going head-to-head in this match of epic proportions. After this match is over, we'll know who is in the finals for this season. Hi everybody, I'm Aaron Yonda and welcome to the Junkyard Joust. Here are the 10 teams competing and their rankings. Thanks to William, Blade Knight, and Duxie on the Discord for helping out with this. Let's head into the garage for a closer look. Jurassic Ride is sticking with the winning formula. They are not replacing a single car on their team. They are, of course, ranked number 1. Ranked number 5, it's the Alabaster Aces. They have some heavy-hitting power and some survival, and even an undercutter. Right after them at rank 6 is Bloodbath and Beyond, a team that turned out to be a dynamic force. The Blue Royals have never made it to the main event, and they are highly ranked at 7. Winnebago Windstorm have also never made it to a main event. They are ranked 10th. One of the most consistent teams around, Blitzkrieg, have made it to the finals many a time. They are ranked 17th this season. Right behind them is Electrical Storm. The Ooze Coupe ramp is definitely something that other teams are going to have to watch out for. Prison Break, bolstered by the biggest vehicle in the match, are ranked 21st. The Aqua Turks have some good survival and also a fearsome ramp. They are ranked 24th. 3 behind them, it's the Blue Line Specials. This team has been doing better as of late. 4 of the teams competing today have earned bonus actions for their performance in the qualifiers. We'll see if those can give some of these teams a little edge and maybe even boost them into the finals. It's time to joust round 1. Here we go, starting off with the 38 Dodge Airflow, sponsored by Sicken for Jurassic Ride. This is their traditional starter. There is the randomized running order. Up top, you can see all the teams, the order they're going to come down in. Track Tune, first up for Prison Break, sponsored by Hendrika's Heavy Hauling. The teams get to choose what car to send down when it is their turn. Porsche Carrera for Winnebago Windstorm, sponsored by the Mad Brit King. Carrera slams that line hard, a little shake up there, but all the cars managed to stay on the track. Turbo Beast for Blitzkrieg, sponsored by Scrapyard's Used Body Parts and Service. Turbo Beast slams that line, Track Tune is punished for it, goes up and hits the crates, bounces, had a chance at a recovery, and just lost it at the end. Hits a height of 8 before failing to make that all-important recovery. First elimination of the match. It'll be for Prison Break. Nice hit from Turbo Beast. First down for the Blue Royals, Toyota Light Ace, sponsored by Mark the Music Lover. This thing is battered and beat up, but it is ready to fight. The Porsche gets thrown off the track. Turbo Beast just a bit. Everybody okay for the moment? Rat Rig for the Aqua Turks, sponsored by William Aronson of the Joust Network, with Bob on board. Rat Rig slides into position, a little wobbly. Its ramp is kind of set up. Aqua Turks just wanting to get this vehicle down before Ooze Coupe. First up for Bloodbath and Beyond, the Nissan Z Pandem, sponsored by Hendrika's Heavy Hauling. Pandem launches and goes over, upside down, bounces off the Toyota Light Ace, cannot make a recovery. Some of these teams did not face a ramp, actually probably most of them, and now we're going to find out if they can handle it. 66 Chevy Corvair Yenko Stinger, sponsored by the Mad Brit King for the specials. Another launch, and the Corvair just about turns over, but is blocked, and that'll be the second takedown in a row for Rat Rig. Here's one that's not going to be so easy. West Coast Flyer for the Alabaster Aces, sponsored by Sicken. West Coast Flyer launches straight into the cow crossing sign, actually bounces off Evil Weevil first, snaps back and stays level. A nice landing for the Flyer. Here comes a 55 Pontiac Star Chief, sponsored by Mark the Music Lover for Electrical Storm. Star Chief launches. That car is great off ramps. I think it will excel in this kind of a situation. No problem surviving that launch. Next down, Pterotractyl for Jurassic, sponsored by Tribble's Troublemakers. Pterotractyl launches. Wow, what a crazy launch and landing. Straight into the crates and then just kind of drives right down, smashes into a bunch of other cars before it pulls out to safety. Electrac, sponsored by Caney Stewart Agri-Services. Electrac launches, does almost a similar thing, flops down and is able to land upright right next to Track Tune. The infamous Forklift for Winnebago, sponsored by Sicken. Forklift doesn't launch. I think it sort of rammed into the back with the forks and doesn't launch. Forklift actually pretty good launching off ramps, but has it disabled this ramp somehow? Pierce Velocity 100-foot aerial platform for Blitzkrieg, sponsored by Avery's Reliable Autos. It smashes Forklift completely into its teammate Turbo Beast. Forklift goes sideways, cannot quite right itself. Things are starting to get piled up down there. It's going to be harder to make a landing stick. 94 Nissan 300 ZX GTS, sponsored by the Aardvark of Freedom. The Nissan slams the Pierce Velocity up onto the back of Rat Rig, where it balances stable for the moment, but that ramp looks like it has been disabled by the Nissan. Morgan Super 3, sponsored by Sicken for the Aquaturks. Morgan slams the line. It is steady for the moment. It does look like that ramp is disabled, and the Nissan's trying to get under Rat Rig. Fished and Chipped, sponsored by Lang's the Cat Lover. A plunging hit from Fished and Chipped, and the Pierce Velocity aerial platform flips over on its weak side, upside down. A huge loss for Blitzkrieg. Rat Rig is definitely on the border and is in trouble. Next hit will be from the 88 Chevy Silverado 3500, sponsored by K&E Stewart Agri-Services. A big hit there, and it does not take out Rat Rig. Rat Rig is safe-ish. Very close call for sure, and now the Silverado's in trouble. And maybe the Toyota Light Ace up front. Another big hit, it's the Greyhound Bus, sponsored by King Jester. Bus slams into the line, gets a double takedown. Now hold on a second, actually, the Morgan Super 3 is upside down. That's what we like to call a
triple takedown.
Blue Line, the Aquaturks, and Bloodbath & Beyond all lose one on that big hit. The Greyhound Bus doing the work for Alabaster Aces. Next down will be Rolling Thunder for Electrical Storm, sponsored by Sauce Automotive Sachet and Buffet. Rolling Thunder slots in the back of that vehicle can cause some trouble for sure. Toyota Light Ace sliding and slipping. 92 Jeep Wrangler Sahara, sponsored by Farty Marty. PD driving and Jeff in the back. There goes the Jeep. It bounces off of Rolling Thunder, hits the bus. PD just gets flipped straight out over by the outhouse. And that thing is toast, but guess what? Fished and Chipped has survived now. Recovered for Bloodbath & Beyond. That's good news for them. Flathead Fury, sponsored by Swamp Hobbit. Flathead smacks Rolling Thunder, does not get under it, but also does not go off the back. The Toyota Light Ace keeping alive. Yet another big hit, Caged Cargo, sponsored by the Test Joust series over on the Junkyard Joust Discord. Boom! It smashes Flathead Fury around hardcore, throws it over upside down, and then lands, no problem. Amazing agility for a big rig and a nice takedown there. And Prism Break will lose another. The pile is growing larger and larger. I do see a lot of cars, though, still upright in that pile. Looks like the Jeep trying to make a recovery. Riveted, sponsored by Coffee Run. Riveted goes right off of Rolling Thunder and pops onto the top of the Greyhound. Perfect agility landing. You'll love to see it. Now for the Blue Royals, it's Challenger 1, sponsored by Sloss Automotive. The Challenger somehow scoots under Rolling Thunder and starts to push it off the track. Top of that thing comes off. Probably makes it better at surviving anyway. Next up, the 56 Chevy 210 sedan, sponsored by Coffee Run. Sedan with a nice hit, powerful hit, but does not get any eliminations. Just throws a couple cars into the air a little bit, but they stay alive. Look at that pile. It is a mess. 64 Ford Thunderbird, sponsored by Frank's Fork Factory. The Ford poises itself on the trunk. Wow, look at all the damage. Things flying all over the place from that hit. Looks like both cars probably lost some chunks. And now that thing is poised to take off. Ford Shelby GT350R, sponsored by Stump's Tree Farm. The Shelby casually tosses the Thunderbird up and over. That thing was clutch for Bloodbath & Beyond, and now it is finished. It's been a tough round for their team. USPS Oshkosh, sponsored by Shadow Wolf. 147 gram hit, but it barely gets any action. The Chevy sedan being pushed off the track, but that was it. And now Oozecoop is ready to set up that ramp, sponsored by Lang's the Cat Lover. There's the ramp, it is set up. Oozecoop has had trouble in the past keeping that ramp on the track. We'll see how this goes, but there's a wall in front of it now. First off the ramp, Velociracer, sponsored by Evil Twin for Jurassic Ride. Velociracer flies into the air, catapults over, skitters along some of the tops of the cars, and I don't think it survived. I think it is sideways and out. Rogue Hog, sponsored by Mark the Music Lover. Rogue Hog ramps it, goes straight upside down. A terrible landing for that car. Almost messes with Riveted a little bit right there. It is out. Prison Break gonna lose another one. They're struggling here. Mazda 787B gonna go for the undercut, sponsored by Coffee Run. The Mazda stops the ramp but doesn't go under. This generally doesn't end well for an undercutter when it's stuck in a position like this. And this does not look good. Firehouse Fueler, sponsored by Sauce Automotive. It's a big one. Boom! There goes the Mazda. It did not end well. Completely wrestled off the track upside down. Firehouse says, get out of here. We're done. I guess Firehouse is going to have to take that ramp now, though. I don't know if that was a good plan. Twin Mill, sponsored by the Test Joust series. Twin Mill with a nice undercut. Firehouse Fueler thrown off the track. It does not get eliminated though, lucky for it. And now Twin Mill is poised. 90 Ford Mustang, sponsored by Farty Marty. The Mustang slams Twin Mill straight over and out. That thing had been very good for the Royals. Not so much this time. An unlucky landing spot, I guess. Mustang's in trouble too. MBX Tangiers Tuk Tuk, sponsored by Farty Marty. The Tuk Tuk flies off of Ooze Coupe, actually slams into the Mustang, barely even goes off the ramp, but it does survive. The Mustang, however, does not. Aqua will lose that one. Cookie down on the ground somewhere, I think. Mazda Cosmo, sponsored by Tim the Bear Neal. Cosmo leaps and launches, and it does not end well. The pile is a dangerous place to land. There's just a very bad chance of actually finding a spot that is safe, and it did not. Shadowjet 2, sponsored by Reaper EOD. Shadowjet denies the ramp, but again, it is lined up in a way that did not end well for the Mazda. How will it end for Shadowjet? Shadowjet at least has that back that helps it sometimes. Mock It Go, sponsored by International Gaming Productions. Mock It Go does struggle with the back of Shadowjet, climbs up, goes back down. Shadowjet is curbside now, and it's getting a bit jumbly down there. Plesiosaurus Transporter, sponsored by Reaper EOD. Plesiosaurus with a massive hit. Mock It Go thrown over into the fence, makes a recovery, doesn't even need that paperclip, and now Shadowjet is trapped on top of the ramp. X-Train, sponsored by Langs the Cat Lover. That thing is a train going downhill. Look at it just drive straight into the pile off the track. I can't tell if it took anything out on the way. It really doesn't look like it. Just kind of shuffled things around. Plesiosaurus, though, might be in trouble. Jurassic's key player. Fiero, sponsored by Farty Marty. The Fiero takes a shot at the line, does not get anything to happen. Doesn't go off the ramp though somehow. And a little movement, but nothing major. Jet Threat 4, sponsored by Judy Collins. Solid slam from Jet Threat. We've got 6 cars left in this round. We haven't backed down the track very far. Certainly not like the other main events. 64 Prince Skyline GT, sponsored by Sanddragon Workshop. The Skyline boots Jet Threat up on top of the Fiero where it balances precariously. Generally, Jet Threat is okay in these situations. 73 Volvo 142 GL, sponsored by Shadow Wolf. The Volvo hits the line, and I shouldn't have said anything. Now Jet Threat slides back sideways in a tough position right next to Firehouse Fueler. I don't see any escape. They needed that car. 73 Honda Civic Custom, sponsored by Stump's Tree Farm. The Civic hits the line, pushes it farther down. Plesiosaurus is going up but keeping balance. 20 Chevy Corvette, sponsored by the Test Joust series. Good hit there, pushes the line forward just a little bit. The Fiero escapes successfully and will survive the round for the Windstorm. There is Cookie hanging out by the Fiero. 83 Chevy Silverado, sponsored by William Aronson. Silverado hits the line, breaks it. We've got a big jumble forming. 4 cars are being displaced. Something probably will happen here with the final car. Sting shot, only 28 grams. Maybe nothing will happen. Sponsored by Judy Collins. A little boink into the line, no problem with that light hit, no damage done. And that will end round 1. And we have got some serious eliminations in this round. This match is reminding me of the good old days, 17 eliminations and 1 measurement. When you get a couple ramps on the track, this is going to happen. 41 degrees. X-Train remains in the match. And wow, did Prison Break need that? Look at how many cars they lost. Taking a look at the aftermath. Jurassic Ride, Bloodbath and Beyond, Winnebago Windstorm. They all lost 2 and fall to 3. Blue Royals lost 1 down to 4. Alabaster Aces, ranked 5th, did not lose a car. Prison Break and Blue Line Specials took the brunt of the damage in this round, losing 3 apiece. Aquaturks and Glitzkrieg each lost 2, and Electrical stormed the other team to maintain all 5. Taking a quick look at the elimination leaderboard, Car Transporter more than doubled its total in the last match, leading at 14 now, up from 6. And the 54 Ford Crestline Victoria also doubled its total up to 10. Can Rat Rig reclaim the top spot? We shall see. And Electrical start us off in round 2 with Rolling Thunder. A great starter car because of that slanted back end. It causes a lot of problems for other cars. Shadowjet can generally handle a car like this. Not this time, though. Kind of bounces back off of it and then gets thrown off and over upside down in elimination for Alabaster that they do not like to see. Alabaster falling to 4 already in round 2. Rat Rig slots into position, kind of sloppy. It's a little big for the track, and there goes the tuk-tuk. Flying into the wall, going sideways. Cookie stays on board, but that thing is toast. A loss that Bloodbath and Beyond could ill afford. What a launch by Riveted, straight into the crates, drives off, recovers. That thing is looking so good. Poor Glitzkrieg. Man, what a beautiful sight. And there is the Porsche Carrera for Winnebago Windstorm. It also makes a landing, not in the best spot, but hey, successful recovery is a successful recovery. There goes Pterodactyl hurling into the crates and also pulling off an astounding recovery. 3 in a row. Rat Rig not doing any damage here. Well, a little bit of damage to be fair. And there is some more damage. Blue Line is gonna lose that car. They are gonna fall. They cannot afford that either. I think we have 2 teams down to 1 each now. Electrac gives that ramp a try and does the thing. It makes the recovery, landing and pushing the Porsche around a little bit, but it settles in to a parking spot, nice and safe. Here comes the Star Chief launching forward. It makes it all the way down to the crates and flops over to a beautiful recovery for Electrical Storm. Some great agility on these cars, and it's smart for the teams to send down the cars with agility. Speaking of agility, West Coast Flyer has it, but gets caught against the crates, and that's more bad news for the Aces. Toyota Light Ace does not have agility and proves it right there. Unfortunately, I think maybe Blue Royals thought that it could mess up that ramp with that vehicle, but it did not work. The Chevy sedan for Aquaturks survives its own teammate's ramp. A nice landing way up front on the Toyota Light Ace, which is finished. There goes the Honda Civic for Bloodbath and Beyond, and now they are in deep trouble. They just have 1 left. I think I misspoke earlier when I said they were down to 1, but now they are down to 1 for sure. And there is Firehouse Fueler taking that ramp like a pro. Huge vehicle like that, but it actually survives it. Messes things around a little bit, and it looks like the sedan now might be in trouble. There goes the Fiero for Winnebago, and it settles in. Looks like it found a landing spot. That's good news for the Windstorm. And now here comes the Transporter for Jurassic. It drives up on Rat Rig, parks directly on top of it. I don't think that's a great spot for that vehicle. And Jurassic does not have a bonus action now like they did in the finals. And there goes Plesiosaurus trying to back out of there, escape. The ramp is turning up. And a huge hit from X-Train. Plesiosaurus is annihilated by X-Train. Flips it straight over and says, "You are finished." smashes into the canoe. The Joust fans are all running amok. And amongst all of it, the Corvette for Blue Line survived that massive hit. Back to the track, the ramp is still in position, and Mock It Go flies into the crates, flips over and over and over, but does not manage to pull off a recovery. There's not a whole lot of good landing spots anymore, and that is going to be an elimination. Here comes the Silverado Alabaster. Wow, another loss for Alabaster, but hey, you know what? If you look up towards the front, West Coast Flyer made a recovery. It was probably on that X-Train hit or something, I'm not exactly sure. The Challenger ramps, and I think it went upside down. It did. Oh man, that is a tough loss for the Royals. That car has been good for them, but not good off of a ramp apparently. There is the Volvo for the Aqua Turks. It is good off the ramp. Wow, it almost helped Shadowjet make a recovery on that turnover. Great job there. Aqua Turks need those kind of cars if they're gonna have a ramp. And it's already time for a bonus action. Bloodbath and Beyond are down to 1. They don't like what they see on the track, and they're going to protect Fished and Chipped by instigating the very first Winnebago block. Winnebago sideways on the track, preventing that ramp, and Fished and Chipped is okay. A big wobbling hit from Turbo Beast. Turbo Beast starts to go off the track. The Winnebago block gets pushed onto the ramp with the ferocity of that hit, and now another massive hit from Caged Cargo completely turns Turbo Beast around. Caged Cargo is okay. Somehow those two things are like mixed up on top of each other, and Fished and Chipped is still good for the moment. Here is the Dodge Airflow, used to going first, coming down rather late in the round, and now it's going curbside up on Fished and Chipped. And here comes the ramp. Ooze is in position. This ramp could be interesting. There's a lot of stuff in its way. We're gonna see some bounce back. No fear from the Greyhound bus. It dives off of the ramp and just about recovers. Actually, that looks under 45 to me. Amazing agility for that big, thick, blocky vehicle. There goes the Prince Skyline, hurling itself bodily into the pile up front, but did it recover? It did somehow find a spot, and it recovers. Blue Royals liking that. Sting Shot down next, goes sideways, doesn't even barely get off the ramp before it turns over sideways. We'll see if it stays like that. That could be a loss for electrical. And there goes the USPS truck. Wow, look at that recovery. Somehow it finds a landing spot, basically the last one there. Smacks Pterotractyl out of the way, and Sting Shot did make a recovery. Another devastating round. We're going to lose 8 more cars for a total of 25. That's half the field. Let's take a look at how the standings are now. Jurassic Ride lost their ace. They are down to just 2. Those 2 will have to do the job. Alabaster Aces lost 2. They are down to 3. Bloodbath and Beyond are on the cusp with only 1 car remaining. And the Blue Royals lost half their team in that round. They're down to 2. Electrical Storm now in the lead. They lost 1, but they still have 4. Blitzkrieg and Aquaturk steady at 3. Prison Break and Blue Line Special steady at 2. And Rat Rig has already done it. 8 eliminations in round 2 means that Rat Rig is at 15 on the elimination leaderboard. 1 above Car Transporter, and there is still more match to come. We will begin round 3 with Electrical Storm and their favorite starting car, Rolling Thunder. Apparently saving Ooze Coupe for later. There might be some cars it's vulnerable to somewhere in the lineup still. I think the Joust fans were messed up by that last round, or maybe they've been drinking some Junkyard Juice. Here comes Rat Rig. Electrical Storm choosing not to send down Ooze Coupe yet. So far that strategy has been working out for them. And there goes the Porsche for Winnebago Windstorm. Very high into the air, pivots, pirouettes. Oh, so close. It almost turned over at the last second. Couldn't quite pull it off. And that is going to be a loss for Winnebago. West Coast Flyer takes it next for Alabaster, bounces around, and has a lot better luck landing it over by the tower. Nice job there. Of course, Blitzkrieg going to send down Riveted, and Riveted handles the jump with ease, landing back on the track, kind of squeezing a spot in between Rat Rig and Rolling Thunder. A delicate placement, we'll see if it holds. There goes Pterotractyl into the crates with another beautiful recovery. Good news for the champs, they are managing these ramps. Let's see if the Blue Line Specials can manage this ramp, and ooh, that was close. The Shelby almost did it. Turned over at the last second, and yep, they're gonna lose another one. I believe that puts them down to 1. Here comes the Nissan for the Blue Royals. It manages the jump pretty nicely, kind of displaces the jump for a second, but then it flops back down. Electrek 4 Prison Break slams into the wall, goes upside down, does not come back from it. It is toast. Another loss for Prison Break, and that puts them down to just a big one. Bloodbath and Beyond, they're the only team with only one car, and now they have no cars. We may have just witnessed the elimination of the first team in Main Event 3, if that car stays like that with no chance at recovery. Speaking of recovery, Star Chief just saves the Porsche Carrera for Winnebago and saves itself at the same time, and Star Chief manages to displace the jump, smacked into the top of it, and now the Volvo, Rat Rig's own teammate, manages to not eliminate Rat Rig, just a little punch forward, had no choice, does not have to ramp, but then gets blasted by Caged Cargo. Despite that powerful hit, the Volvo looks to have survived it. Below 45, it looks like to me, and Caged Cargo is on top of Rat Rig, takes a hit from the USPS vehicle, gets booted into the crates, survives it, then the USPS vehicle gets slammed by Turbo Beast and somehow also survives. The back end of Rolling Thunder proving to be a deterrent, but ultimately not getting any takedowns. Ooh, what a close call that was for Turbo Beast. The Dodge Airflow almost took it out, pushed it over. Last car for Blue Line Specials stays locked in after getting hit. That hit from the Prince for Blue Royals, and then there's the biggest vehicle in the match, still alive, trying to cause some trouble here. It does squeeze a couple cars around, but doesn't get any takedowns, and then just about escapes the track. Oozcoop slides in, and the ramp is not locked in. I don't exactly know what happened. I think it sort of got stuck on X-Train, and we'll see if that ramp still works. It does, but it doesn't go well for Ooze, or the Coop. The Coop goes over off of that ramp, but it'll be the last time that Oozcoop gets a takedown in this match. It has been taken out because of that weird rebound off of X-Train. The Prince Skyline faces down the Fiero. Here comes the Greyhound bus. What a hit. Somehow all the cars stay locked into the track, but not for long. Firehouse Fueler messes everything up. Multiple jumbles, curbside. Sting Shot not able to take advantage of that because of its lightweight. And so there will be no more eliminations in round 3. We are going to lose our first team, though. 5 cars eliminated in round 3. Some more teams are going to join the One and Done Club. Let's take a look. Bloodbath and Beyond, the 6th ranked team, are already out of the main event. They even had a bonus action. It did not help. Alabaster Blue Royals Winnebago all steady at 3. Jurassic steady at 2. Over here, Glitzkrieg still steady at 3. Electrical Storm falls from 4 to 3, losing their ramp. And now Prison Break and the Blue Line Specials are both down to 1. Aquaturk steady at 2. And that'll do it for part 1 of the 3rd main event. Tune in next Sunday at 7 p.m. Central to watch the thrilling conclusion and find out who is going to be in the finals, who's going to get that wild card slot. Thank you to every single one of my patrons for making this show possible. You are the reason that this show keeps coming out every week. You are much appreciated. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you next time on The Joust.